ATA. His son Dylan was a great tennis player at the University of Virginia, and he might tell you more about that later today. But I want to introduce you to this man who is coming to share some wisdom with each of you today. Danny Walker has gained recognition as a dynamic, nationally known speaker and trainer. He's considered a gifted presenter and humorist, and if you guys met him in the shootout, you already know that. His presentations use techniques that inspire and facilitate change in corporate cultures as well as in individual attitudes. We have that to look forward to today. Danny now serves as the president of Rose of Texas Hospice, and prior to his last 20 years working in hospice, Mr. Walker taught at Louisiana State University for 18 years and was also an assistant to the president of Louisiana Tech University for 2 years. We'll have to share that with Granville. We'll be happy about that. He served 4 years as special advisor to Governor Charles Romer of Louisiana and chairman of the governor's special commission on student loans, which might affect each of you later in your life. In addition, he established a partnership for a drug-free Louisiana. Danny received his Master's of Sociology from Texas Christian University and a Master's of Divinity from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth. He currently resides just north of Austin with his wife, Diana. So, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Danny Walker.
All right, how many of you have heard me speak before? Raise your hand. How many of you haven't? How many of you don't really care as long as it's short? Okay, just checking. Glad to be here. I've had an opportunity in my lifetime to talk to a lot of kids. At one time I talked to, in Louisiana we have parishes instead of counties like you have here. And so I had the opportunity to speak at all 66 school boards. There's 64 parishes, but 66 school boards. New Orleans had problems with their school board and had their fight and split, and then Monroe, Louisiana, those of you that may even be looking at the University of Louisiana in Monroe, the university there, they split too. So I've talked literally to, I don't know, 40,000 kids in my lifetime. And I've talked to as few as 5 and as many as 3,000 at one time. I like what I do. Are they going to be tested on anything that we do here today at all?
Always.
Always?
Always tested.
Okay, then I'm going to tell you what you're going to be tested on, okay? And that way you'll all do well. When I taught at LSU, the first thing I would tell them, when they come into my class for the first time, I would tell them this is going to be the best class you have this hour. Obviously, that's the only class they have. Then, as I go along and introduce them to sociology, I would tell them, you know, no, this is going to be the best class you have this week. You know, and it'd be about, let's say, class started at 11, it'd be about right now, I'd say this is going to be the best class you have this week. And then we'd go on and I'd tell them a bit more about what we're going to do, the term papers we're going to do, the books we're going to read, and all of this. And then I'd tell them, you know, about 10 or 15 minutes later, no, this is going to be the best class you have this month. And back then you had to go 2.5 months each semester lasted. And then we'd go a little bit longer and I'd tell them, no, this is going to be the best class you have this semester. Okay? And then when the bell rang, I say, no, let me tell you one more thing, guys. This is going to be the best class you have at this university. Now, what was I doing with them? What was I doing with them? Tell me what I was doing. Wasn't I planting a seed for them what? To think about what we're talking about. Because here's the first thing I want you to write down. The mind does not know the difference between what is real and unreal. The mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and unreal. Does that make any sense? Think about what that said. The mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and unreal. If you tell yourself on your first toss, I know I'm going to have a second serve, what do you usually have to do? You have to have a second serve. As opposed to when you toss the ball, or before you toss the ball, you tell yourself, I'm putting this in to his backhand like you wouldn't believe. You have a greater likelihood of that happening if you talk to yourself even before you toss the ball. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and unreal. And let me tell you how we learned that before y'all were born. We had something called the Vietnam War back in the late 60s, mid-60s, early 70s before it ended. And I had friends that sat on the front row of my American history class. It was only, in our little class we only had about 16, but there was 4 kids that sat on the front row of the American history class that I was in. Mr. Slimer was his name. 4 years later, when I graduated from college, or was in my senior year of college, the other 3 guys that graduated from me in high school had died. They didn't go to college, they went to Vietnam. One of them came back when he got wounded. And so back then they took him to Hawaii. This is where they had the rest and the R&R, what they called it, the rest and relaxation. He was wounded in Vietnam, comes back to the Hawaiian Islands. And I was writing him back and forth, writing him letters back and forth, and he ended up losing both legs just above the knees. He was walking, he was what they call the bird dog. And the bird dog is the guy in an American battalion that walks out front as they're trying to take a hill or a mountain. The bird dog walks out front, and he's the one that has to watch, hoping he doesn't step on a landmine. Well, he hit a landmine and ended up losing both legs. And he was telling me that many mornings when he was in the hospitals over there, the infirmary in Hawaii, he would wake up and the first thing he would do is like he always done, roll over, hop, jump out of bed. Bust his ass. Fall. Okay. Wow. He didn't have any legs. But didn't know it when he first woke up. The mind didn't process that he did not have it. He said on more than one occasion it happened. The mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and unreal. So if I tell you, hey, this is going to be the best class that you have, and y'all going to bring other speakers in, right? I'm going to be the best speaker y'all have this year. Somebody was saying, golly, Miss Carol, why did you bring a short little fat guy in here to talk to us? And this is what he's saying. I'm planting the seed because the mind doesn't know the difference. Now watch this. This is what is kind of neat. I'm speaking about 2 years ago to the Dallas-Fort Worth Red Cross. There was about 800 men and women in here one morning at a breakfast. And I'm speaking. When I finish, a lady comes up. A lot of them are the majority of them are in healthcare. The lady comes up to me and says, Mr. Walker, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, you don't remember me. I said, help me. She says, 1973. I said, okay, pretty good while ago. You taught me at LSU Shreveport. I said, wow, what a memory. And she said, you gave me the best class I had at the university. We don't know if it was the best class or not, but what happened? She remembered it. She remembered it for 40 years. So all we're saying is the mind is going to help you more in tennis than anything you have. Nothing. I don't care if you can run wind sprints. My son, Dylan, used to wake me up when Jack Newman was at Fred's up in Dallas. My son was 10 years old. He would wake me up at 20 minutes to 6 in the wintertime. Because Jack ran over at a little country club thing. He ran early morning workouts. Y'all do early morning workouts here?
We do.
Do you do early morning workouts? Okay. Well, Dylan, in the winter up there, he would wake me up, 10 years old, wake me up at 20 minutes to 6 and say, Dad, we got to go. And we would get up and go early in the morning, and he would play from 6 o'clock until 7:20. He'd run in, change clothes, everything. We'd leave at 7:30, and then he would go over to a little school called Green Hill, where he played, where he went to school and played tennis at Green Hill.